Good day, children. I hope you're all fine. Children, do we live in a free country? Yes, India is a free country. When did we become free? On 15th August 1947. From whom did we get this freedom? From the British. The British ruled over us for almost 2 centuries. They came to India as traders and stayed on to rule over us. And our patriots have fought for this freedom for almost 2 centuries as well. Rather, our first major war of independence was fought in 1857. Today, we will study about our patriots, our great martyrs, our freedom fighters, and also about the lives of our Indians who suffered under the oppression of the British. So today's lesson will cover the period of 1757 to 1857. The name of our lesson is Glimpses from the Past. It is from our book, The Honeydew. Glimpses of the Past is given in a comic form. It is given in the form of pictures and illustrations in a systematic order. The pictures help us to understand the ideas better, the lesson better. Rather, you must have heard of the phrase, a picture speaks louder than 1,000 words. So, they are very descriptive and very beautiful pictures. You get a thorough understanding of the efforts of the people, of the sufferings of the people, of their lives under the British rule. Children, in the glimpses of the past, we will first of all remember the martyrs, thanks to whom we won our freedom. In the very first picture, we can see 4 great personalities. Can you tell me who they are?
Yes, I guess I can try. I can see Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
Yes.
And beside him, I can see Lal Bahadur Shastri ji.
Yes.
Indira Gandhi.
That's right.
And the lady with the mic is Lata Mangeshkar ji.
Oh yes, our Nightingale. The amazing thing is we have 3 prime ministers sitting together.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
Who was the first prime minister of India?
He was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our Chacha Nehru.
And who was the second prime minister?
The one who is sitting beside? Lal Bahadur Shastri ji.
Very good. And Indira Gandhi has also been the Prime Minister of India. Very good. The second picture shows us Nehru ji is remembering all the martyrs. In the second picture, we can see very great personalities, the martyrs of India. Can you name some of them?
I will try to recognize them. The first one is a father of a nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji. Then I can see Bahadur Shah Zafar. Then we have Rani Lakshmi Bai. Then Lokmanya Tilak. We have Lala Lajpat Rai. And we have Bhagat Singh. And here in the corner, I can recognize, yes, he is Subhash Chandra Bose.
Very well done, child. That is amazing. Yes, these are the very, very great leaders of our country who've given up their lives for the betterment of our country, for the freedom of our country. And there are a whole lot of people there, right in the center. They are our martyrs too. So many nameless martyrs here. Thousands and thousands of people who've given away their lives, who've given up their lives for our sake, for our freedom, for our emancipation. It is in the memory of our martyrs that Lata Mangeshkar is singing this song. Oh my countrymen, let your eyes fill with tears as you recall the sacrifices of India's martyrs. Can you tell me which song this is? She's actually singing in Hindi. She's not singing in English.
ए मेरे वतन के लोगों.
You can sing this?
Oh,
Okay.
let's try.
Great.
ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों, जरा आँख में भर लो पानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी। जय हिंद की सेना, जय हिंद की सेना। Wow, this song really aroused a feeling of true patriotism in me right now. I can feel it.
Yes, we can feel the shivers down our spines and we can feel the tears brimming in our eyes as we remember the great martyrs and their lives and their sacrifices, the difficulties, the obstacles that they faced, all for the sake of us, their countrymen, all for the sake of the progenies to come, so that India would be a free country. Children, now we shall study about the East India Company's conquest of India from 1757 to 1849. The Dutch, the French, the Portuguese and the British came to India to trade with us. They would buy cotton, silks, muslin, spices, indigo from here, several other things as well, and they would go and sell them in Europe. The British East India Company strengthened its foothold in India in 1757 after the Battle of Plassey, which they fought with Siraj-ud-Dowlah. They also used very superior weapons like guns and cannons. In this image of the map of India, we see the pink areas have become British territories. The yellow areas were still ruled by the Indian princes. The British followed the divide and rule policy. They fanned the conflict between the Indian rulers. They created rifts between them. The short-sighted Indian princes could not see through their evil plans. Their conflicts helped the British gain control over India. In the next picture, you will see that the Indian princes were very short-sighted. The people had no peace because of these short-sighted kings because they were always fighting with each other. Now, India had a very large number of kingdoms. And there was constant fighting going on with each other. They were not satisfied with what they had. Everyone tried to usurp the territory of the other. So they were fighting these wars to increase and expand their kingdoms. So we see this king saying that upstart Raja, call the English merchants, they will help me defeat him. Now this attitude is what helped the British gain their foothold and the Indians lose it. So the one king would fight with another and he would take the help of the British. So the British would help this king defeat the other king. They would take over the territory of the other king and they would also get paid by this king whom they had helped. So even if they were not taking over the territory, they were getting a lot of money for it. They were getting paid very highly for it. So they would be getting tribute from the king who had won and also from the kingdom which had been lost. So the British were making money from both the sides. Now these rivalries between the kings helped the East India Company and it could easily subdue the Indian princes one by one. A far-sighted ruler like Tipu Sultan of Mysore fought the British till he died fighting. He was the son of Hyder Ali. Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan were very brave and great rulers of India, of Mysore. They used to earlier export sandalwood and pepper and cardamom, but then once the British started taking over the Indian territories, they stopped trading with them. The British could not bear it, and then Mysore and the British, they fought 4 wars. It was in the 4th war that Tipu Sultan died fighting the British. In this picture, we see how the Indians react to these conquests. There are 2 different schools of thought. So there's one lot of Indians who are saying, thank God there is peace in the country now. No more wars and no looting by thugs. It is God who sent the British. Our destiny is linked with them. These people actually were fed up with all the wars that were going on, one after the other, constantly. And then there would be all these thugs who would be looting them. So they feel that if it is just the British ruling them, there would not be too much war going on, the way it was with the earlier kings, since we would all be under one ruler. So they feel that God has been very good to them by sending the British. But these people, they're very few and far between who think like this. The majority population of India was very unhappy. So they said the white man has killed or dethroned our kings. So the other one says, some kings were not good, but after all, they were our kings. They were of this land. And now we have become slaves of foreigners. So this is the school of thought which prevailed at a much greater level. Nobody wants to be a slave. And the British were foreigners. Yes, we've had other foreigners before them. We had the Afghans coming in, we had the Turks coming in, the Mongols coming in. We've always had to fight them, fend them off. But the way the British took over the entire country, nobody else was able to do that earlier. So here they feel that the British, these white-skinned people, they were really not of our country. They were from a different continent altogether. They were foreigners and they dethroned all the kings of India and took over their thrones. They said even if our kings were not so good, some of them were good and some were not good. But they felt that even the ones who were not good, at least they were their own kings. So like even at home, if you feel the members of the family are not getting along, nobody wants an outsider to come and interfere in the family's affairs. So similar is the case here. They feel, why should any outsiders come and interfere in our affairs? Why should any outsider come and rule over us? Children, you must remember that you should not fight with each other. You should resolve your conflicts through communication and negotiation. This will help you live peacefully and amicably. Otherwise, you will be the losers and somebody else will take advantage of your position. Children, let's have an activity now. You have to tell me whether the following statements are true or false. The first one is, there were a lot of rivalries between the Indian princes.
True.
Good. Tipu Sultan was the ruler of Madras.
False.
He was the ruler of Mysore, not Madras. Some people welcomed the rule of the British.
True.
You're right. Most people were upset about the British ruling over them.
True.
You're also right. The British killed or dethroned many Indian kings.
True.
That's correct. The third part of this lesson is the British rule from 1765 to 1836. Some religious leaders preached ideas like untouchability and child marriage. The Hindu society was divided into four castes: the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras. The Shudras were treated as untouchables. Some Brahmins and religious leaders spread a lot of superstitions to keep their power and control over the common people. Here you can see in the picture that there is the religious leader. He is surrounded by the common people who are all ears to him, who follow him blindly. They fooled their followers who were simple people. These simple people had blind faith in their religious leaders. Children, everyone should be treated as equal. We should not discriminate against anyone. About child marriage, children, how old should a person be to get married? Okay, you can guess. Well, according to Indian law, the minimum age for marriage for a girl is 18 years and for a boy is 21 years. But in earlier times, very small children used to be married off. It is very harmful for the child. In fact, if the child is married at a very early age and the child becomes a parent, let's say a girl becomes a mother at a very young age, she can die during childbirth. The children literally lost their childhood due to child marriage. The religious leaders said, anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion. This caused a lot of problems for the soldiers who were ordered to go to Burma in 1826. The British even made overseas service compulsory for the Indian soldiers in the British Army. Children, do you believe in such superstitions? The religious leaders also preached things like, all the misery in the world is due to women. They subjugated the women. They were male chauvinists. Do you think these men were right? No. Men and women are equal. Women must be treated with respect and love. They are the creators. How can a man be considered superior to a woman when a woman has given birth to him? Just like Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, "So kyo manda aakhiye jit jamme rajan." How can you call that woman bad or lowly if she has given birth to the kings? Children, you must respect all the women in your lives, be they your mother, sister, grandmother, aunt or friend. In this image, we can see two British officers talking to each other and an Indian standing next to them with folded hands. This image shows that some Indians had lost their self-respect. The British scorned them. They said, the natives are unworthy of trust, incapable of honesty. Instead of standing up for his countrymen, the Indian man said, "True, Your Honor, but I am honest." Children, would you trust such a man? If he is not true to his motherland and his fellow Indians, he is definitely not worthy of trust. But the British were unfair to think of all Indians like this. They had no right to look down upon the Indians. In the next picture, we see that being merchants, the British wanted quick profits. Their heavy taxes forced the farmers to abandon their fields. The farmers worked very hard, tilling their land and growing the crop. The British took away all their produce, saying it was the tax they owed to the British. Even after taking all the produce, they said that the farmers were still in debt. They threatened to send the poor farmers to jail if they didn't pay up. This ruined the farmers. Out of fear, they abandoned their fields. Inevitably, famine followed. In 1770, 10 million people died in Bengal due to famine. Between 1822 and 1836, 15 lakh Indians died of starvation. Even the farmers who toiled throughout the year and produced food grains died of hunger and starvation. They couldn't feed themselves and their families, since the British had taken away all the produce. Poor Indians starved while the British filled their coffers. They also forced farmers to grow cash crops like cotton and indigo. The British would take the crop and the farmer would be left with nothing, no money to buy food for himself. The cotton was taken to England to make cloth, and indigo was exported and also taken to England as well for coloring the cloth. Sadly, even now, farmers are not able to make ends meet. They are under heavy debts. The cost of producing grain is so high. The goods don't fetch a high price. There is a risk of crop failure due to the vagaries of nature. Children, you must think about the plight of farmers even in today's times, and we must figure out how to help the farmers. In the next image, we see that the British invented other methods also, which gave them more profits. The British passed a law that there would be no import duty on goods manufactured in England when they were brought to India. Means there would be no import duty on them. With this, India lost a source of income. The machine-made British goods were sold at low prices. These goods became a competition to the Indian handicraft industry. The British took away the raw material like cotton to England at a very low price. They made cloth in their factories and they sold it in India. In this cycle, our Indian artisans suffered. Here in the picture, we see a family of artisans. The British policies ruined the expert artisans and their business. The artisans were the skilled craftsmen of the handicraft industry. In the case of weavers, we see that there was barely any raw material available as all the cotton was shipped off to England. Whatever little was available became expensive. When the weaver wove the fabric and tried to sell it in the market, it had to compete with the mill-made fabric from England. The cost of manufacture to the weaver was high, but he had to sell the fabric at a low price. So the weavers were at a huge loss. They ran out of business. They ran out of work. They and their families were left to starve. The artisans were forced to sell their goods to the company at low prices. Their production declined. Not just declined, rather, their whole businesses packed up. Children, now in today's time, our industry is facing a tough competition from Chinese goods, which are sold at low prices. These Chinese goods have ruined many businesses in India. We need to follow the Make in India policy, and for that to be a success, we should all use goods and products that are made in India. We should import less, produce more. We should follow the motto, be Indian, buy Indian. Children, we have a list of ideas and we have to see whether those ideas belong to the British or some Indian religious leaders. The ideas are: all natives are unworthy of trust, untouchability, child marriage. If you don't pay arrears, you will be sent to jail. Anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion. There should be no import duty on goods from England. All misery in the world is due to women. So these are the ideas. Now the ideas which were preached by the Indian religious leaders will go to column A, and the ideas of the British will go to column B. So you have to tell me whose ideas these are. All natives are unworthy of trust.
British.
That's correct. Untouchability.
Indian religious leaders.
Child marriage.
Indian religious leaders.
You are correct. If you don't pay arrears, you will be sent to jail.
British.
That is correct. Anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion.
Indian religious leaders.
That's correct. There should be no import duty on goods imported from England.
British.
That is correct. All misery in the world is due to women.
Indian religious leaders.
You are both right on all accounts. Well done, children. Children, this part is about Ram Mohan Roy, popularly known as Raja Ram Mohan Roy, from the period 1772 to 1833. Ram Mohan Roy was a learned man from Bengal. He understood what was wrong with the country. He was an Indian religious, social and educational reformer. He was one of the founders of Brahmo Samaj, a social and religious reform movement. Here in this picture, he is talking to a fellow Indian saying, "Let us not despise ourselves. Our ancient culture is great and we are capable of greater achievements. We must first reform our society." He felt that superstitions have been ruining us. He feels that we must get over the superstitions. We must do away with the superstitions. Only then can we progress. In this picture here, we see that he is talking to his wife Uma. He treats her as an equal, not the way the religious leaders were saying that all the misery is due to a woman. He shows love and respect to his wife, and he discusses philosophical matters with her. He says, cows are of different colors, but the color of their milk is the same. Different teachers have different opinions, but the essence of every religion is the same. So he explains it to her in a very, very simple language where he compares the cows with the religion and the color of the milk with the teaching of that religion, with the essence of that religion. He feels that all religions teach the same thing. What are the basic tenets of all religions? What do all religions teach? What do they have in common? Oneness of God and brotherhood of mankind. All religions say that we should be kind to each other, we should treat each other as brothers, and we should never hurt or harm or injure anybody. Religion does not spread hatred, fanaticism does. Religions propagate love and harmony, be they Sikhism, Islam, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, or any other religion. Christianity as well. No religion will teach you to kill. No religion will teach you to hurt others, to injure others. They believe that all men are equal, all men are brothers and sisters. Men here is a metaphor for all human beings. He did not believe in blind faith and superstition. He was attracted by science and modern knowledge. He said, knowledge should be practical and scientific. He believed that one should learn by observation and experimentation. One should not be superstitious and just talk about luck and bad luck. To educate people, he started newspapers, but the suspicious British stopped them in 1823. He did not fear religious leaders. He crossed the 7 seas and went to England to see what made the British powerful. He told them, "We accept you as rulers and you must accept us as subjects. But you must remember the responsibility a ruler owes to his subjects." Children, what do you think is the responsibility of a ruler towards his subjects? What is the duty of a ruler towards his subjects? Yes, the welfare of the people. A ruler should ensure that the subjects are provided with the basic amenities, the basic necessities as well as comforts. The ruler should see to it that everyone gets food, clothing, shelter and education. The development and well-being of the subjects and the state should be ensured by the ruler. So the British should have been taking care of the Indians. They should not have been just looting them and fleecing them. They should have been actually trying to bring about development in India. They should have seen to it that no Indian slept hungry. They should have seen to it that all Indians were well provided for under their rule. Only then would it be a good rule and a happy country. Raja Ram Mohan Roy brought about educational reform. He played a crucial role in the development of English education in India under the British regime. He played a major role in abolishing the social evils of sati and child marriage in India. Children, let's have another activity now. So here you can see the picture of Raja Ram Mohan Roy talking to his wife Uma. Children, tell me, what are the different colors of cows?
Black, white, brown.
That's correct. What is the color of milk?
White.
That is also correct. What are cows compared to in this picture?
Teachers of different religions.
That's right. Raja Ram Mohan Roy compares cows to the teachers of different religions. What is milk compared to in this picture?
The essence of religion.
That is also very correct. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy says that milk is like the essence of all religions. It is the same. Essence of all religions is the same. According to you, what is common in the teachings of all religions?
There is only one God.
Good.
All men are brothers.
That's great.
We should not hate each other.
We
should not fight.
Very good, children. I'm so proud of you. So well done. I would like you to make similarities between seemingly very different things. So here, let's see what you do. Tipu Sultan was as brave as a
Lion.
Good. Lata Mangeshkar sings as sweetly as a
Nightingale.
Wonderful. The Englishman was as clever as a
Fox.
Great. That's right. The undernourished weaver was as thin as a
Stick.
Yes. You're correct on all accounts. Now these are called similes. So when you compare two things and you say that they are similar to each other, then we call them similes. There are other examples of this, like she is as cool as a cucumber. They fought like cats and dogs. He's as strong as an ox. Children, I would like you to make a list of 10 similes. This unit is about oppression from 1765 to 1835. The British continued to oppress Indians. In 1818, they had passed Regulation 3. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without a trial in court. This was inhuman. Everyone deserves a fair trial. No innocent person should be sent to jail. But in those black times, anybody could just be picked up and thrown in jail indefinitely. Children, you must be aware that we have a very good judicial system in our country. We have courts, we have district courts, we have high courts and the Supreme Court. And all the cases are tried. Everyone gets a chance at a fair trial. Only then are they sent to prison. All the time, British officers in India drew big salaries. They also made fortunes in private business. Here you can see these flourishing British in India. The British officers got special overseas service allowance along with their salaries. They made huge fortunes by trading Indian goods and also by looting Indians. Robert Clive amassed a fortune in India worth more than 4 lakh pounds, which was a huge amount at that time. By 1829, Britain was exporting British goods worth 7 crore rupees to India. Here you can see in this picture where we see all the traders. The British prospered on companies' loot while the Indian industry began to die. Our poor artisans, our factories, our small-scale industries, everything ran into losses. Governor General Bentinck reported back home to England that the bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. He saw the pathetic state of cotton weavers who were starving and dying in large numbers because they had lost their livelihood. You can see in this picture the pathetic condition of these people. They are dying of malnourishment. They had the spinning wheels but could not use them. They did not have the money to buy the raw material which had become expensive due to scarcity, as the British would take away most of the raw material to England. But if they could procure the raw material, their finished good could not compete with the cheaper mill-made fabrics imported from England. So that is why the entire industries, cottage industry, the small-scale industry, got into huge losses. The poor weavers lost their livelihood. It is very sad to see their state, their condition, as is so evident in the picture.
Children, let's have a quiz now. The British East India Company started its conquest of India in, the options are 1857, 1757, 1947, 1747.
1757.
That is correct. This started with the Battle of Plassey. The next question is, Tipu Sultan was the ruler of Madras, Bengal, Punjab, Mysore.
Mysore.
Very good. Ram Mohan Roy believed that, now the options are, superstitions cause ruin, knowledge should be practical, rulers have a responsibility towards their subjects. All of the above.
All of the above.
That is the correct answer. He felt that superstitions caused ruin and knowledge should be practical, and that all the rulers have a responsibility towards their subjects. The British oppressed Indians by, the options are, levying heavy taxes, sending Indians to jail without trial, by ruining the Indian industry, all of the above.
All of the above.
That is correct. The British oppressed Indians by levying very heavy taxes, by sending them to jail without trial, and by ruining the Indian industry. By 1829, Britain was exporting British goods to India worth, now the amounts are 7 crore, 2 crores, 50 crores or 15 crores. Tell me which is the right option.
7 crores.
That is correct. The number of Indians who died of starvation in the famines between 1822 and 1836 was 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 15 lakh, 20 lakh.
15 lakh.
That is the correct answer.
Children, that is all for today. I hope you can understand whatever has been taught in this lesson. because pictures speak louder than 1,000 words. These pictures have made it so clear to us the conditions that our people went through because of the oppression of the British. The conditions that led to the rule of the East India Company in our country. So children, we will do the rest of the lesson in our next session. Till then, do take another look at them and try and make a comic of your own. You can make it through the dialogues with your family on any topic that you like.